Jack Haedicke of Arena Consulting Group was instrumental in the success of Elkay's performance management system. As a lifelong practitioner in the area of costing and profitability, Jack will share his insights on the many implementations he has done in the past, as well as the success at Elkay.
The most critical factor to any successful implementation is making sure you take management on the trip with you. And that means several things. First of all, working with them to understand what's possible. Secondly, it's getting them involved in the design process so that it's their vision of reality, not the consultants. And lastly, it's setting a stretch goal for the initiative that achieves a significant return for the company to keep everybody motivated and focused. People often think of these as being systems or cost accounting implementations. That's incorrect. This is implementing an ongoing system of change management within the organization to achieve a significant return. This isn't about cost accounting. Elkay understood that perhaps better than any company I've ever worked with. There's a process I've been using over the last 20 years and continuously refined to help assure success in implementations of this type. It starts with an assessment that takes 3 days where we review the client's general ledger structure, cost driver availability, and systems interfaces. At that point, we've got a pretty good idea of how the project's going to flow. And out of that comes an estimate of the return on investment and a very detailed action plan. Once that's completed, we do high-level process mapping to identify the key activities and cost drivers for the company in preparation for perhaps what is the most important step, which is client design. At this point, we involve a cross-functional team of IS folks, operation, warehousing, production, in finalizing the key activities and drivers for the company. And frankly, we can't build the model until we get that consensus and agreement. That also starts the process of the company actually making the model their own. After that's completed, we build the model, we add specific reporting, we then validate the model, which is going back to that same client design team, reviewing the data with them in great detail to assure that they understand it and agree it and that we've captured all their thoughts appropriately. Once validation is completed, we head down the road to value capture. Value capture is identifying the short-term opportunities for the company. Our goal is always to set an objective of 10 times the project's cost, easily obtainable in the next 18 months. It's a very important concept. It keeps the team focused and, again, motivated to get a return for the corporation. We always set stretch goals for these implementations, and our going-in proposition is that we're going to return 10 times the project's cost within 10 months. The areas it typically comes from are first and foremost trading partner negotiations. By identifying key components in the supply chain and key activities between trading partners, in essence, we're creating a language between those trading partners that can be negotiated on. Certain people do activities better than others. Perhaps those activities should be swapped. Secondly, it's category management, understanding truly where the company makes its money and loses its money, and perhaps strategically how it can address each of those category components. Close cousin there is SKU rationalization. SKU rationalization often means eliminating SKUs, but it also can mean redesigning, promoting them differently, and typically we're impacting about 9 or 10% of the SKUs in an implementation. Thirdly, it's benchmarking. What we're doing in essence is identifying activities DC to DC, operation to operation that could be compared one to the other. The idea here is we can identify who has established best practices and spread that best practice across the company. Fourthly, it's process changes. Taking a look at whether some products should be moved to upstream DCs, is it better to source domestically or imported, but again, all based on the key activities of the supply chain and creating a common language across the corporation. Again, I mentioned earlier the goal is to get 10 times the project's cost as a return. Often it's significantly higher than that, rarely is it lower. And as a client, you should always expect to get at least that, or you're probably not ready to take the trip with us.